Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vaditamastu Mavidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Divine Being look over us lovingly as a mother and father. May the Divine Being support and nourish us as a mother and father. May we have the strength and skill to study together the art of spirituality. May no misunderstandings arise amongst us. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all joyous and suffering beings everywhere. So thank you for coming this evening. We're studying chapter 8 of the Gita, the yoga of mysticism. This is my divine mystery. You must try to understand its nature. My being...
Shankara, sorry
Yes?
to interrupt, but there's somebody's radio going on in the background.
Yes, whoever's radio is going on in the background, either turn off the radio or mute your microphone. Thank you, Swami. Has it disappeared? Whoever has the radio on, either mute your microphone or turn the radio off, please. This is my divine mystery. You must try to understand its nature. My being sustains all creatures and brings them to birth, but has no physical contact with them. Now, this seems very strange until we think. Almost all of us have seen hand shadow puppetry. There's a wall or screen, there's a light, and with just their hands, people will make amazing forms appear on the screen. This is something like what Krishna is talking about. He is the light that shines. Without that light, there would be no, there wouldn't be any hands for a start, but there certainly would be there would be no shadows. So this is what is meant. Krishna is that light that enlivens all things, but doesn't have any physical contact with them in that sense. For as the vast air, wandering worldwide, remains within the ether always, so these, my wandering creatures, are always with me. These, when the round of ages is accomplished, these, when the round of ages is accomplished, I gather back to the seed of their becoming. In the Vedic way of thinking, there are two very long periods, billions and billions of years. It's inconceivably long periods. One is the night of Brahma. The night of Brahma we can think of in our modern physical terms as total entropy. Absolute zero. No vibration whatsoever. This is what he means when he says, I gather back to me the seed of their becoming. I gather back to the seed of their becoming. And then at the dawn of the day of Brahma, as Vivekananda said, during the night of Brahma, the gunas are in perfect equilibrium. So there's no vibration. When the day of Brahma begins, the cosmic mind has the thought. Of course, this is not definitive. There's no way to be definitive about the infinite. But it's expressed in the Chandogya Upanishad approximately this way. At the dawn of the day of Brahma, the cosmic mind thinks, I am one, I shall become many. And so this is what Krishna says, or what he means when he says, these I send forth again at the hour of creation. When this day of Brahma begins. This is anti-entropy. In modern physical terms, this is anti-entropy. Anti-entropy means that things become more defined. There is name and form. Things become more complicated, more complex. In the beginning, if we believe in the Big Bang Theory, what first was there was nothing but plasma. Plasma is not a thing, it's a state of energy. As it cools, it becomes the most elementary particles, quarks and gluons and so on. And then fields begin to form, fields of energy, and things attain mass. Having attained mass, they begin to fall together. Hydrogen is created. Stars are born through the falling together of hydrogen. And, groups of stars form galaxies, and so on and so forth. So this is what he means by creation. Helpless all. In other words, this is not going forth in any willful fashion. Helpless all, for Maya is their master. Maya is the illusion of something happening. The illusion being the shadows of the hands, the shadows of the two hands making shadows on the wall, seeming to be a turtle, seeming to be a jellyfish, seeming to be a dinosaur. This is Maya, the illusion that something is happening. Helpless all, for Maya is their master, and I their Lord, the master of this Maya. Ever and again, I send these multitudes forth from my being. In other words, this is an eternal process. The night of Brahma, followed by the day of Brahma, followed by the night of Brahma. It's inconceivable to our finite minds, really what this means. We can only understand it, we can only really understand it when we practice meditation long enough to free ourselves from the sense that we are the body. And this is what he means by the yoga of mysticism. When you are free from the idea that you are the body, that you are your thoughts, that you are your sense impressions, then this knowledge, which is always there because you are that knowledge comes to the fore, and you have some sense of what he means by these words in a deeper sense than an intellectual sense. Helpless all, For Maya is their master, and I, their Lord, are the master of this Maya. Ever and again I send these multitudes forth from my being. How shall these acts bind me, who am indifferent to the fruit they bear? Now, this is sometimes saying that Krishna contradicts himself, that he doesn't really care about his devotees. No, that's a different issue entirely. It just means that what is the result of Maya, he is indifferent to the particulars of that until there is this response in consciousness of devotion. For my spirit stands apart, watching over Maya, the maker. Maya makes all things, what moves, what is unmoving. O son of Kunti. Son of Kunti means every human being born of woman. That's what son of Kunti means. O son of Kunti, that is why the world spins, turning its wheel through birth and through destruction. Notice that this is all the work of Maya. Maya is duality. Maya, therefore, ipso facto, it cannot be in any permanent sense the reality. So this is, all of this is happening in the sense of I am one, I shall become many. It's a dream that begins, and the dream is called Maya. Maya produces all of this duality, this name and form, this specialization. But it is up to us to understand its relative merit and our place in it. This is the mystical understanding. When we don't understand, what does Krishna say of this? Fools pass blindly by the place of my dwelling, here in the human form, and of my majesty they know nothing at all, who am the Lord, their soul, which is just what I was pointing at. That is the reality. Maya is the dream that is being dreamed by that soul, that is being created as a shadow show by the gunas. Of these fools, he says, vain is their hope, and vain their labor, their knowledge. All their understanding is but bewilderment. Their nature has fallen into the madness of the fiends and monsters. Fiends and monsters are asuras and daityas. So Krishna speaks somewhat harshly, almost judgmentally, but it's not in any deep sense. It's only in the Maya sense. So as when they are bewildered by Maya, when their understanding is immature and unripe, they fall into the madness of the fiends and monsters. And if we want to know what he means, just look about us right now in the world. Just look about us right now in the world and see what happens to those people who are immature in their understanding, foolish in their behavior. Great souls are they who become what is godlike. They alone know me, the origin, the deathless. They offer me the homage of an unwavering mind. Unwavering means that you don't fall back into delusion. You don't fall back into misunderstanding. You keep the priority straight. What is the higher truth and what is the lesser truth? Vivekananda said, we do not move from error to truth. We move, if you will, from lesser truth or lower truth to higher truth. Maya is not untrue. It's not an error. It's just a kind of dream. And so it's a lesser reality than the truth. They alone know me, the origin, the deathless. They offer me the homage of an unwavering mind, praising my might with heart and lips forever. Many of you have heard the Adi Shankaracharya's Bhaja Govindam. This is what he means by praising him. Striving for the virtue that wins me, and steadfast in their vows, they worship, adoring, one with me always. This is the highest. Others worship me, knowing Brahman in all things. Some see the one within them with themselves or separate. Some bow to the countless gods that are only my million faces. And by million, if we go on to the chapter where Arjuna sees his universal form, million is just a summary statement. It's infinite. Rites that the Vedas ordain and the rituals taught by the scriptures, all these am I, and the offering made to the ghosts of the fathers, herbs of healing and food, the mantra, the charmed butter, the clarified butter, the clarified butter. So the offerings that are made into the fire, all these am I, the offerings made to the ghosts of the fathers, herbs of healing and food, the mantram, the clarified butter, I the oblation, and I the flame into which it is offered. I am the sire of the world. Now, why is he saying all this? He's trying to persuade us. He's trying to persuade Arjuna, and through Arjuna, us. Release your grip on the world as an addict to the things of worldliness. And know that where your attention belongs is with the higher, the highest. Dispossess yourself of the dream and come to know the dreamer. As Swami Prabhavananda used to say, everyone loves the magic, but no one wants to know the magician. Everyone loves the magic, but no one wants to know the magician. Sri Krishna is here describing the magician. I am the sire of this world and this world's mother and grandsire. I am he who awards to each the fruit of his action. I make all things clean. I am Om. I am absolute knowledge. I am also the Vedas, the Sama, the Rik, and the Yajus. Those are the three primary Vedas. I am the end of the path, the witness, the Lord, the sustainer. I am the place of abode. I am the place of abode, the beginning, the friend, and the refuge. So now we hear something different, not contradictory, but different from his indifference to the Mahamaya. And now we're hearing how he feels about those who yearn and therefore come to the divine presence with the intention of breaking through the Maya. The friend and the refuge. I am the breaking apart and the storehouse of life's dissolution. Now, this is a very profound statement. I am the breaking apart. When we begin to break apart our addiction to the illusion of Maya, it is Krishna himself doing it, he says. I am leading you home. I am the friend and the refuge. I am the breaking apart and the storehouse of life's dissolution. What does that mean? When all of what you are clinging to has been released, it doesn't go anywhere. It simply returns to Krishna's, as he says, storehouse, to be reapplied over and over eternally. I lie under the scene of all creatures, the seed that is changeless. I lie under the scene of all creatures, the seed that is changeless. Within you is that seed that is changeless, and it is Krishna himself, he's saying. Now, you may call it by any name, any of his, as he said, million faces. So it's not as if you are bound to say only Krishna, Krishna. No. Whatever aspect of the divine appeals to your heart, That is your chosen ideal. And he's saying, I am that. Not by the name Krishna, by whatever name you wish to call it. I lie under the scene of all creatures, the seed that is changeless. I am the heat of the sun, and the heat of the fire am I also. Life eternal and death. I let loose the rain or withhold it. Arjuna, I am the cosmos revealed and its germ that lies hidden. The cosmos that is revealed is what is produced by Maya. The germ that remains hidden is that being that said, I am one, I shall become many, and the day of Brahma begins. So we've covered a lot of territory here. Let's just see what time it is. Good, it's only a little before 8:30. So there's time to stop. And before any questions that you may have or comments that you wish to make escape, because we turn to other things, is there anything that you would like to ask or say? Please be forthcoming. So, all that was clear enough? No dark corners? Well, good. Very good. They that are versed in the triple Veda, worshiping me with the rites appointed, worshiping me with the rites appointed, drinking the wine of the gods' communion, cleansed from their sinning, that is to say, their blemishes are removed. Not that they were bad people and now they're good people. No, they've just simply removed the blemishes that come from missing the mark, the bruises that come from falling down and skinning our knees and bloodying our nose. These men pray for passage to heaven, thus attaining the realm of Indra, home of the happy. Swarga, heaven, realm of the happy, home of the happy. There they delight in celestial pleasures, pleasures more spacious than any earthly they taste a while, till the merit that won them is all exhausted. Then they return to the world of mortals. This is the normal path for human beings. It's not the path that you are on. I hope that's clear, that by doing what you're doing on a Wednesday night like this, you are separating yourself from the mass of human beings. And you are putting your feet on the other path, which he will describe. Thus go the righteous who follow the road of the triple Veda, in formal observance, hungry still for the food of the senses, drawn by desire to endless returning, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Millions of years, it said. But if, I said, he'll describe something else now. But if a man will worship me and meditate upon me with an undistracted mind, devoting every moment to me, I shall supply all his needs and protect his possessions from loss. What is he saying? You don't need to fear for yourself or your possessions even. You won't be dispossessed if you follow the path with determination that you have set your feet on. I'm going to read that again because this is such an absolutely pivotal statement. But if a person worships me and meditates upon me with an undistracted mind, devoting every moment to me, I shall supply all his needs and protect his possessions from loss. Now, if you remember, devoting every moment to him, he described very thoroughly in chapter 3 of Karma Yoga. This is how you devote every moment to him. It isn't that you're necessarily thinking of Krishna every moment. That's the optimum, of course. You're seeing Krishna in everything and every action, everything and every action. But to start down this path, you simply offer everything. Offer every moment, offer your every action, your every thought, your every predilection, your every tendency. You offer it all to him. And so this is why you then are devoting every moment to the divine presence, because you've offered it all. And as the day goes on, you remind yourself of this. When you start to take something to eat, you offer that. Something to drink, you offer that. You're going to do a particular task, you offer that. So this is how you end up devoting every moment to him. And he says, if you do this, I shall supply all your needs and protect your possessions from loss. Now, we can find very, very clear parallels. I'm not going to quote them, but there are very clear parallels in the Christian scriptures where Christ says, why are you worrying about what you're wearing? The lilies of the field are arrayed more beautifully than you are. Why are you worrying about yourself? The Lord knows about every sparrow that falls. So this is that huge promise. I shall supply all your needs and protect your possessions from loss. Even those who worship other deities and sacrifice to them with faith in their hearts are really worshiping me, though with a mistaken approach. For I am the only enjoyer and the only God of all sacrifices. Nevertheless, such men must return to life on earth because they do not recognize me in my true nature. So that's what he means by mistaken approach. It doesn't mean you have to worship Krishna. It means you have to worship without any desire for the results. You love for love's sake. This is what those who recognize Krishna in his true nature do. Those who sacrifice to the various deities will go to those deities. And if you want to get a very clear understanding of this, read the 3rd chapter of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. He talks about this exact thing. Those who sacrifice to various deities will go to those deities. The ancestor worshippers will go to their ancestors. Those who worship elemental powers and spirits will go to them. This is what I mean. And all this is described in detail by Patanjali. The ancestor worshippers will go to their ancestors. Those who worship elemental powers and spirits will go to them. So also, my devotees will come to me. Which is why.
Question about that. When we talked about him, when he told the man to worship his goat,
Yes.
How does that align with this last statement in terms of?
Very, very good question. What question did Sri Ramakrishna ask him? What do you love? What do you love? And the man answered honestly, he loved his goat. So Sri Ramakrishna said, very well then, worship what you love, worship your goat. Knowing that if the man did that with faith and with pure intention, he would come to understand that what he loved within the goat is the self. The self is simply another name of Krishna.
So it was like a gateway?
Yes, exactly. It was a way for him to find, because he said he couldn't, this simple farmer said he couldn't have any feeling for any of the forms or formless aspects of God. So Sri Ramakrishna asked him, well, what do you love? I love my goat. Very well, worship your goat. And then he found, this is why he came back after 3 years, with tears streaming down his face and saying, now I understand. Because he found the self within the goat. He found what it was that he was truly worshiping, what he was truly loving. And if you want to have a very, very detailed explanation of that, what the self is and how it is the only thing that we truly love, you'll find it in the early chapters, and maybe the 2nd or 3rd chapter of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the Great Forest Upanishad, in which the sage Yajnavalkya, his wife asks for him, Yajnavalkya, to tell her the highest truth. And he says, he starts his quite long narration by saying, it is not for the sake of the wife that the husband loves the wife, but for the sake of the self. And it is not for the sake of the husband that the wife loves the husband. It is for the sake of the self. This is what Krishna means when he says he is the indweller in all of us. He doesn't mean Krishna, the king that was serving as Arjuna's charioteer. He means that divine presence, that divine person, that divine being. And so we come to understand the meaning of this when we penetrate the surface of what we love and find within it what it is that we are truly loving. And we find it, then having found it anywhere, we begin to see it everywhere. Very, very good question, and very, very good connection to have made.
Brother Shankara, can I ask a quick question?
Of course, Keith.
So is it kind of like, so even with, you know, is it same with worshipers of Shiva and Kali, and that is really, it's a method, and you have to break through that method gets you there, and then you have to break through that method and leave it behind. Is that kind of like that?
If you're going to attain the highest realization, yes. Even Sri Ramakrishna had to do this. Sri Ramakrishna had a teacher of non-dualism named Totapuri. Tota was the man's name, his monastic name. Puri means he was from the Puri monastery. Totapuri taught Sri Ramakrishna the method of non-dual meditation, of Advaitic meditation. Sri Ramakrishna records in his own words that he tried and tried and tried, and every time he would begin to go deep into meditation, the form of the mother, his beloved, his Ishtadevata, would appear to him, chosen ideal would appear to him. And he said this to Totapuri, and Totapuri picked up a piece of broken glass and poked it into what we call the third eye place on Sri Ramakrishna's forehead and said, meditate here. Now, this is not an instruction for all of us. We follow the teachings of our teachers. This was an instruction for Sri Ramakrishna there and then. So Sri Ramakrishna did. And then he said, and then when Mother appeared, I took the sword of discrimination and cut her in twain, cut her in two. So that's what you mean by go beyond. Yes, ultimately we go beyond all limitation, as long as there's a thought and a thinker, and that which is thought about, it's duality. Now that's not inherently a bad thing. It's just a limitation. We can soar very high in duality. We can have absolutely incredible spiritual experiences, including Savikalpa Samadhi, which is the final realization short of this Advaitic realization, where we have that full experience of our chosen ideal. And it's very fulfilling, and it pushes everything else to the side, everything else to the periphery. But then there is, as you said, ultimately, if that is your heart's desire, there's the need to go beyond that. Does that answer the question?
Absolutely. Thank you, Brother Shankara.
Anything else while we're stopped? This is good. This is wonderful. This is what we're about here.
And when he says, those who worship elemental powers and spirits will go to them, what are examples of elemental powers and spirits?
We just saw something called Tropical Storm Cristobal. Isn't it so? An amazing display of natural power. This is an elemental, and the power behind it, the spirit behind it, is called Vayu. It's in other traditions, it's the storm god is called it by other names. But every aspect of every definable, separable aspect of our reality has its deva or spirit that is responsible for it. Some people worship those powers. And as I say, if you want to get a full explanation of it, rather than try and go into it here, you can read it in chapter 3 of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, the powers section. And he says, you know, people do this and get stuck for a long time. They get stuck in this. It's another form of limitation. But it's not that it's bad. It's simply a grasping after power. And it depends on how you use the power that defines whether it's good or not so good. Yes.
So how would you define worship?
Boy, howdy, that is a whole day's retreat.
Well,
Let's just cut to the chase. Whatever you find your heart returning to over and over and over is what you worship. This is why I say everyone is a bhakta, everyone is a devotee, because there's something that they worship. And if you want to know what I mean, just back your car into somebody's Ferrari sometime. And you'll find out they worship that car. What have you done? What do you know about it?
That makes sense.
Whatever your heart returns to over and over and over, wherever you find your attention returning, particularly unbidden in the beginning, it just goes back and back. You know, people who are infatuated in the early stages of romantic love, it seems all they can think about is that other person. That's worship. Now then, there are formal ways of worship where you begin to control that impulse. And so, and direct it. And you can direct it higher and higher. The farmer was in love with his goat. He loved his goat. But by the end of the 3 years, he loved the divine self, the divine presence. So worship is whatever your mind and heart turn to again and again, particularly when you catch yourself unbidden. Your mind has gone back to that. Your heart has gone back to that. Is that a clear answer?
Absolutely. Well, for me it is, yes. Thank you.
This is so good. This is so good. Yes.
Shankara, this is Haima.
Yes. Yes.
This is transcendence, isn't it? Transcending to the higher truth. That is.
Yes. Transcending is exactly what we do when we replace a lower truth with a higher truth, and then marry our consciousness, our awareness.
You find out your consciousness. We find our consciousness.
Yes, you find your consciousness, but that's a long road of winding.
It is.
There are many levels in between. The technical name for it is sublation. You sublate a lower idea with a higher idea. And that's a form of transcendence.
Mm-hmm.
You transcend the lower idea when you have actually become able to live the higher idea.
Thank you.
Slowly and slowly, that's what happens where and this is the deep meaning of neti neti. We do it in all of the yogas. It's just a formal practice in Advaita or Jnana. But we do it in all of the yogas. We release that which is a limitation and go to a higher form of limitation, something that is less limited, more spacious. I love that word when Krishna used it, spacious. He used it in terms of a delight, as a pleasure, but spacious.
That is when the ahankar, which is ego, is put aside. That's when.
No, it isn't put aside, dear. It's understood. It's never put aside. It's not put aside. It's simply understood. Ah, this sense of self that I have in this being, this sense of separation, this is a mistake. This is what it is I'm seeing the reflection of the one eye maker in the koshas, the layers of this, and I'm thinking, oh, this is separate. But Sri Ramakrishna says, no, you don't leave the ego behind or set it aside. You simply ripen it to where you have the ripe ego. The ripe ego understands that I am not this. That is that. And furthermore, when you can say it truthfully, Tattvamasi, that thou art, and Aham Brahmasmi, I am that. But that's a long way to get there.
Yes.
So we do not set the ego aside. We set the errors that the ego makes aside. We leave them behind. But the ahamkara is necessary for this to exist at all. That eye maker, there wouldn't be any. This is what the cosmic mind means when he says, "I am one; I shall become many." I will reflect myself in all of these dream beings. As Vivekananda said, we are infinite dreamers, dreaming finite dreams. You are dreaming the finite dream of Haima. This is dreaming the finite dream of Shankara. And ultimately, we'll leave all of that behind. But for the time being, we just refine it, as you said, transcend. Well asked. Good. Anything else?
Brother Shankara,
Yes, Swayam.
thank you for that wonderful definition of what is worship. You said that whatever your mind or heart goes to repeatedly, initially unbidden, is worship. So as the worship matures, do we redirect it at sort of will?
Yes, you do. This is the training of the mind to the heart is always, it is always going to the self that is within whatever it is we're worshiping, bidden or unbidden. The heart always knows, so to speak. It knows. It's not a perfect reflection, but it's a better reflection than the mind. So we train the mind to worship that which we have intuited and we have been told by our teachers is an auspicious object of worship, subject for worship. understanding that this is all within Maya. This is all within the realm of duality. But that's what we have. That's who we are. As human beings gathered together this evening in this incredible technological manner, we are worshiping together the very fact that we can learn and go higher. This is in itself a form of worship, what we're doing. We're devoting our hearts and our minds to the words of Krishna because we have a belief and a faith that if I listen, if I assimilate, if I make this my own, not just words on a page, not just words said by somebody, whose job it is to try to make sense of these words. If I really make the meaning of the words my own, then somehow we slip that grasp of Maya and go beyond. And first it happens in a moment, then it happens in a few moments, then it happens for half an hour. But it's won by degrees. And if we keep after it, if we keep it up, we will succeed. This is what Krishna says. Thank you for that question.
Thank you, Brother Shankara.
I have one more very important question. If we
Yes.
So in the Gita, Arjuna is preparing for battle. And so in that preparation, of course, going into it, or I'll bring it back to real time, in the things that we do day to day, like say going work or things that we want to do well in. And so we set our minds, even if in the name of God, in the name of Krishna, if you're setting your mind to it and aiming to do good and or to do well at it or to excel at it, could that be considered a form of worship? And how?
Absolutely. Work as worship. Yes. So well said. So well asked. That's exactly what it becomes.
But is it, and I know it's all by degrees, is it, and it's obviously a lesser truth, but is it counterproductive to getting to the higher truth?
No, not at all. It is just hand in hand with that. What you do is you divinize your work by saying, whether I yet realize it or not, I believe, I have faith in Krishna's words that these people that I am dealing with, these people that I'm working with, these people that I work for, they are all the divine being. They are all the divine presence. So I offer myself, my efforts to them. This is divinizing your work. And if you do it in that spirit and persist in it, you don't have to say a word to anybody about what you're doing or why you're doing it this way. Just do it. Just offer it in that spirit. You'll be amazed what happens in your workplace, for one thing. They'll say, who is this woman? Why is she so clean in everything she does? Why is it that there's this wonderful spirit of cooperation and forgiveness for others' mistakes coming from this person? It's because you're seeing the divine in the other. And so this is, if you want to know more about this, you can read Swami Vivekananda's The Secret of Work. It's one of the talks that is in his little book, Karma Yoga. Or if you, I don't know if you got a copy of the Complete Works. Anyone who wants a copy of the Complete Works of Vivekananda that doesn't have one, all they have to do is send me an email and I'll send you back a PDF copy of the Complete Works of Vivekananda. So you don't have to buy all these books separately. Karma Yoga is in there, and that talk, The Secret of Work, is there. And so a very, very good question. And no, it's not less. As a matter of fact, as you will see in reading Karma Yoga, that perfection of service can lead you to the highest. That perfection of service to others can lead you to the highest.
Wonderful, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Brother Shankara,
Yes, dear.
just in a light note, I was listening to one of the Swami's talk, and this act of offering everything and divinizing everything,
Mm-hmm.
offering everything to God, he referred to as sandwich sadhana. So
Say why.
Because he says first thing when you do and get up in the morning and begin by offering the day to God, that's
Yes.
your bottom layer of the sandwich.
Yes.
And then as you go about your day, you keep offering everything. Those are the toppings, the fillings. Before you go to bed, when you offer everything, the end of the day to God, that is the top layer of the sandwich.
I love it. Sandwich sadhana. That's perfect. That and boy, does that say it so succinctly. Which Swami was that?
It was some Swami from Mumbai. I think it was a talk that they were giving to young children that were attending some camp or something.
Yeah, well, I love the homely metaphor. Sandwich sadhana. You get up in the morning, you offer the day. As you go through the day, you offer all the actions and their fruits, and those are all the fillings for the sandwich. And then as you go to bed at night, you offer the night, and you offer what happened during the day and what will happen during the night. And that's the top layer of the sandwich. That's just great.
Yeah, it makes it easy to remember. So
yeah, well, that's the great power of a good metaphor. It makes it easy to remember.
I love that. This is Keith. I love that because it also makes you very present in everything you're doing.
Exactly. You're just putting another topping on the sandwich. You're adding another something to the sandwich.
Yeah, he also
at the end of
mentioned
the day, you
that
offer it all to the Lord.
like you start the day and you do offer the first layer, and then you go to office, and then you can add bread also. You offer another, you start your work, and then you come back from work, and then you offer that, maybe another slice, and then more toppings, and so you can make it any number of layers.
Yeah, when we were in college, we called those Packer sandwiches, multi-layer sandwiches, Packer sandwiches.
Speaking of sandwiches, when Krishna says, hungry still for the food of the senses, drawn by desire to endless returning, does it almost sound like he's talking about more than just food here? He's talking about...
Yes. They always speak in these summary forms. But when Sri Ramakrishna said, this is the difficulty of practicing anything other than bhakti yoga, really practicing anything other than bhakti yoga in this age, the end of the Kali Yuga. He said it's because we are so dependent on food. By that, he didn't mean just food. He meant all of the things of sensory stimulation, and then all of our elaborations of that, our projections, our memories, our the way that we manage to elaborate everything rather than simplify everything. So very well noted. Very well, Brahmadas. That was good. So it's after 9. We'll leave it there. Any other just final thought from anyone? All right.
I want to say thank you for all the clarification that came with tonight. Like, I feel very full and very clear and just prepared for the rest of the day and tomorrow on. So thank you so much.
Thank you, dear. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having this great desire that brings you to this. Believe me, it will bear fruit. Believe me, dear, it will bear fruit. These words of Krishna, they go deep in us. Yes, Brahmadas.
Yeah, I do agree with what V said. When we think of the Gita and follow it throughout the day, it seems to help us deal with all the difficulties that the day throws at us.
Remember that it was the guidebook of 2 great souls that we know of. First, Vivekananda, when he was doing his wandering sadhu period in India, he had 2 books, the Gita and Thomas A. Kempis's The Imitation of Christ. Mahatma Gandhi had the Gita ever at hand. It was his Bible, he said. So yes, the more we can keep the teachings of the Gita in our minds, the better off we are. And if we can start with really getting clear what is said in chapters 2 and 3, if we go back over chapters 2 and 3 again and again, not that you neglect the rest, but those 2 are they're the beginning for a good reason. The rest is, in a sense, elaboration on what's there. So good night, everyone. We'll just close with this prayer. Oh, dearly beloved, a flower at your feet for each one who comes to your open door. A flower at your feet for each one who stands by your open door and says, come to me, offering to break this world's chain that binds us down to ignorance, suffering, and death. A flower at your feet for each one who takes the path that you have struck through this, your jungle world. Om, Amen. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be unto us and to all joyous and suffering beings everywhere. Om Hari Om Tat Sat. So, Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai, Durga, Durga, Durga. Go with the Divine Mother's blessing and her protection and her love.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother
Good night,
Shankara.
everyone.
Thank you, Brother Shankara. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, Brother Shankara.